You are now listening to N21FM, a Pokemon podcast. I am your host, Glenn, and I am joined by a couple of people today. The cast looks a little different than it normally does. I do not have Johnny with me today. He has been very busy preparing to welcome a baby into the world, so he is not joining me. However, in his stead, I got some of my favorite people probably on the planet. It is, I don't think, possible to overstate how overjoyed I am to welcome the cast -1 of Dunsparce and Drampa onto the show. This is Grace, Melissa, CJ, and Rich. These folks run a fantastic show called Dunsparce and Drampa that follows the story of 4 unlikely heroes traveling through Sinnoh with a myriad of objectives and stories, and it is one of my favorite things to listen to. I think everybody should give it a shot really quick, especially because the finale is coming for the current season, and I'm beyond stoked about it. So before we get into anything super crazy, if you folks don't mind, welcome to the show. Rich, let's start with you. Just introduce yourself, say hi.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Rich. I'm the DM for Dunsparce and Drampa. It's actually the first, believe it or not, it's the first D&D game that I've run. And I didn't expect it to get to the point where we would not only have so many listeners and be having so much fun on our own, but also would be interviewed like on podcasts. So that's cool. And thank you for the intro, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here. It is impossible to believe that this is your first time DMing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little later. I have some notes I want to point on that.
Sure.
Grace, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting us. And for everybody, I play Elodie.
Certainly. Melissa, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm Melissa. I play Cindy.
Outstanding. And CJ?
Hi, I'm CJ. I play Gimli.
Outstanding. So, Rich, for the folks who have never listened, despite me begging them to, give us a quick rundown of just kind of like, if you could fit it into like a couple sentences, what the journey has been like so far.
Sure. The first word that comes to mind is unpredictable, chaotic, exciting, and dramatic. Those are the buzzwords that jump into there. It's really the product of me having this lifelong obsession with the Hoenn region and just being a child and just fantasizing about the people that live there and things that happen there, and then asking my friends to put characters in a world slightly in the future from the Hoenn games and seeing what happened, and that's what we ended up with.
Awesome. Yeah. I love the Hoenn region. It's probably like one of my top 3. Is that the reason you just were a big Hoenn fan, that it takes place in Hoenn?
Yeah, pretty much. So I had been, over the pandemic, I was listening to a lot of actual plays. A couple that came to mind for primarily inspiring this was Dungeons and Daddies, which is not Pokemon oriented at all. And then Boarding Party, which is a Pokemon actual play that takes place in a homebrew region. I was listening to both of these like simultaneously because they had alternating release weeks. So I was getting inspiration from both of them a lot. And I just decided at some point I want to do this. I don't think I have as much fuel as Drew from Boarding Party does to do something totally novel as far as the environment and the setting, so I chose Hoenn because, as I said, I played so much Emerald as a kid. I definitely hit the 900-hour mark just by like replaying the game over and over and over again.
Awesome.
And so I just had so many thoughts and feelings about Hoenn that I wanted to just throw some gamers into it and see what happened.
Sure. What is everybody's favorite region? I have a hunch or an inkling of an idea, but if you could tell me right off the top, maybe like your favorite region and your favorite Pokemon from that region.
I'll start. Are we in funny question? Are we in the same orientation for everyone? Like, is it Grace, Melissa, CJ, me, you?
Yes.
No. Yeah?
Oh, no.
I just have Melissa and CJ swapped. That's all I have different.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that would like assist in like an answering order or anything. But since I've been speaking, I'll go first and I'll make it short. My favorite region actually isn't Hoenn. It's actually Johto, which is funny. But I didn't spend as much time in Johto. It was, I just I don't know what it is. Hoenn I still love. It's just a different kind of love, I guess.
No, I get that.
My favorite Pokemon from Johto, there's a lot of really good ones. Probably Crobat. I'm gonna pick Crobat.
Crobat's a banger. I don't know how much of the TCG you guys know, but there was a Lost Origin full art of Crobat with your rival from Johto, like casting it out, and it's so pretty.
That sounds
I love
awesome.
that card so much.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
CJ, what about you, man?
So I didn't play it as much, but I love the aesthetic of it. I'm a big Alola fan of the aesthetic, mostly because I like some of the crossing between like a whole bunch of different aspects of it. Like, because my favorite Pokemon from the Alola region is actually Guzzlord. I just love like the Ultra Beast aesthetic to it, and he's just a funny guy to me. So he's like definitely one of my top 3 in general. So
big fan of Guzzlord. He's super sick. The Ultra Beasts in general were such a cool design. Yeah.
It was just a great concept to explore, be like, oh yeah, we're just going some outlandish. These don't fit the aesthetic of Pokemon at all, but we can fit them in. Like, it's really cool.
Let's put Power Rangers into Pokemon.
Right.
Awesome. Cool. Melissa, what about you?
My favorite region is Hoenn, primarily because it was the first Pokemon game that I had ever played, Emerald, on like a emulator.
Nice.
So, yeah, and Whismur is my favorite.
Oh, nice.
I have a Whismur tattoo.
That's so sick. Whisper's super cool. I love that guy. All right, and Grace, what about you?
I go back and forth a lot on what my favorite region is, but I think right now it's Unova. And my favorite from that region is tough because there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
But I think I gotta go with Oshawott. I'm always such a huge Oshawott fan. The water starters always get me.
No, I'm right there with you. Believe it. It's water starters are elite every day of the week. Yeah. I'm also a big Unova head. Especially lately, I've been on a tear. Just like I need more Scolipede in my life.
Totally.
Scolipede is such a sick mon, and
totally agree.
So we're getting like the 151 specialty TCG set soon. That's allegedly going to have an illustration rare for every Pokemon, and I will be spending whatever amount of money it takes to get that Scolipede card. It's really exciting.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So kind of diving in here, I would like to just get an idea of what you guys think as far as the show, right? Your favorite moments or like your bits that you really enjoyed or like a recurring character. I was expecting a smaller group, so I kind of initially like wrote down like a 4, for example, but give as many or as few as you feel comfortable. There's countless incredible moments from this show. For instance, like I think 2 of my favorites, and maybe it's just recency bias because I've been binging so much lately, but the Hoopa Trick House arc and the Team Magma Secret Base are both just such killer arcs. And I would love to know what you guys think.
Sure. Any particular order? Should I start?
Yeah, we can.
I'm already
same order. We'll start with Rich and then go CJ, Melissa, Grace.
Okay, cool. I am a big fan of what the Quacko Packo does. I have maybe too many favorites to name, but the moments that either are like really descriptive of character growth or just totally caught me off guard jump to mind. Mm-hmm. And for clarity, we're like not warning about spoilers or anything, right? Like at this point, we're just the whole
right.
Up to episode 107, right, is what we're discussing.
This is your spoiler warning. If you have not watched the show, be prepared to be spoiled. Just understand that that's coming.
Okay. The players have heard me talk about this all the time, but something that I'll just name one because it's just by far and away my favorite. Not that I don't love all of the characters, but the player who isn't here, Jacob, his particular arc kind of being playing this character. It's his first time playing a TTRPG in the first place, which is wild. Playing a character that's kind of isekai'd and like ornery, it can be really difficult, especially if it's your first time playing. And it led to some tensions like early on the campaign, and it led to him splitting from the party during intense combat in this early Mauville siege. And he challenged the Mauville City gym and ended up losing. To be fair, he had a bad matchup. It was Watson versus the flying types. And I feel like that was like a moment for the character, and maybe for Jacob as a player too. I can't speak to that, but for Schmidt, just that's kind of where the growth catalyzed, and then it, in my opinion, completed and like blossomed in a really awesome way when he re-challenged Watson and obliterated him with a really cool strategy that like seems obvious now, but I did not predict whatsoever. As a quick reminder, the strategy for the gimmick of the Watson gym was that the Pokemon always switched out. It was called the Volt Switch, and like you were forced to switch every turn. And as a flying type trainer, that's hard to deal with it. But he caught a Skarmory and had it use spikes at the beginning.
Oh, that's right.
And it was just so cool because Watson was just decimated, and it, like also Schmidt had grown so much by then. Probably a year and a half passed in real time. Also, by the time that rematch happened, right? And so there's a ton of moments. I could go into every character's favorite moment for me, but I'm just going to lay out Schmidt's growth in that arc between those gym challenges as my favorite.
Yeah, that's super cool. You can definitely tell how much that Jacob has changed as a player, like since the early beginnings. I remember like I was going back to binge episode like 1 through, I think I got through 30 when I was like going back through the catalog, and I remember being like, this is totally different from what I've just listened to in like the early hundreds of episodes. He's changed a lot as a player, and it's super cool to see. I love that he feels more comfortable with it, and I definitely agree with you. That's a really awesome beginning to an arc, because like for those who don't know, Schmidt's character is kind of I don't know, he's got kind of like a pride about him that comes through very clearly, and like him getting humbled like that is like you said, an awesome catalyst for that kind of growth, and I think he plays it very well.
Totally.
CJ, what about you, buddy?
So I talk about this particular fight a lot when I reference it to like my other tables. But the entire like Lava Ridge volcano fight was like, it was such a like massive like revelation in terms of like, and it was from my understanding, it was a complete like adaptation of like changes of what would have happened with our actual fight, which should have been in the magma base, but got like completely decimated because of a crit. So we're just like,
That's
oh no,
right.
like, okay, then it turned into this whole ordeal where it was a true player versus actual environment.
Mhm.
To the point where I started like telling people, I'm like, hey, you need to explore like this whole concept of fights. I'm a big like D&D fight nerd in particular.
Sure.
So like combat orientations and how those things work, like adding in this whole layer of the environment and like how to adapt to it and dealing with just a crisis situation rather than like it just being a guy you fight or a bunch of little dudes that you're taking out in like a typical D&D fashion was just so interesting. And like to even speak on that fight and how it influenced it, like I brought it to my IRL table that we just restarted, and he did like a little fight in like a water heater apartment started like bursting, and it was like an evidence scene, and we had to like clean up as much evidence as possible and stop this water heater from like just blasting at us. And it was just like, there wasn't an enemy, and it left like most of the players super confused because they were like, there's not a bad guy, like we're just trying to stop this whole instance from occurring. And it was such a cool thing to end up developing just out of basically nothing. It was so fun. It was my favorite fight of the whole campaign.
It's a cool fight. I didn't know that actually was a result of the Swift taking care of the Team Magma stuff. I didn't realize that that's what that was. That's really masterful improv on your part.
Oh well, thankfully we had a gap. It wasn't like we ended the magma hideout and it went straight to there was like a week in between. I mean, I knew the volcano would erupt, but I decided to up the ante a bit, and it turned out, as CJ said, to just be like a really fun PvE experience. Like, yeah, there's no baddies, but like there's an erupting volcano, and you want to save townspeople. It's a cool motivation and a cool boss to fight.
It's super novel to have the environment be the boss. I do love that. I remember that striking me the first and second time I heard it. Melissa, what about you? You're next.
I don't know what my favorite moment is. It's all been such a good time. I feel like me as a player, I'm very chaotic, so I'm always like doing doing the worst possible thing.
Sure.
Like, oh, Agron, I can ride him. No, I cannot. Yeah, let's give the kid the Hoopa portal. Nothing could go wrong. We're not going to crash a boat into the second story of a house.
Why would that happen?
It's a little bit LD too, but like,
it's a team effort.
Yeah,
that's super awesome. Yeah, that's a really good moment. Is that one specifically? Do you have any like characters that you remember, like recurring characters or bits that you really enjoy, Melissa?
I miss the nap lady. She just wants to take a nap, and she's so real for that.
I was
her name?
Just thinking that.
I don't remember her name, but she has a bunch of
What's her name?
I forget. Yeah, it's been so long.
Oh no!
The one
I
I
go
think
to the notes channel.
The one I think you guys wanted to ask about was like the nap lady. If we would ever hear from her again.
I mean, considering I forgot her name, it's not looking good.
Rest in peace, nap lady.
Yeah, we found a nap spot, I think, and there was some sort of reward, right? If I'm remembering.
Yeah, we did.
Correctly.
It was like the Munchlax, where we get someone with the berry pouch.
Yeah.
That's like, this is a sick nap spot.
And
but I think we only did that once.
Yeah.
I can think of 2 times, but like I know more than that.
Got it.
That was a cool character. Yeah. Nice. Grace, what about you? Do you have any characters, bits, moments that come to mind? Any, even like a full arc also?
Yeah, the Dewford arc will always be my favorite. It was so fun. Just the catalyst of that being us crashing a boat into a house is just crazy. And then being in jail, and like I was sitting there being the one like, guys, we're not gonna break out of jail. And then breaking out of jail was just so crazy. Yeah. Oh, it was so
Rizzing up the
fun. And I
cops.
think yeah, rizzing up the cops, you know how it is. Yeah. I think it's so fun that like a lot of these moments were just us being chaotic and then Richie just having to be like, I guess we'll go this way and figure it out. I think that's so fun for our group in general, just how we play.
Yeah. Rich, how often were you caught off guard by like the decisions your players made?
Every game.
All the time. Yeah.
There was not one
It's
game
like
where
there was
wasn't
no
a surprise.
shot where like I look at the reflection of it and I'm like, there's no shot he like knew anything that was gonna happen at a point.
So sick.
Which was great for like my first time DMing because I quickly learned, like, I've shared some of my notes off of my Google Doc with the players, and like the first 4 or 5 sessions, paragraphs and paragraphs of notes, and then later in the campaign there will be like one sentence. It's like, don't forget that Grottle's in the cave. And that's all my notes for the session because I can't plan anything. Like, I'll make character blocks, and like for like, you know, for an encounter table, I'll make really basic monster blocks. I'll seed NPCs and stuff, but besides that, it's who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's like you took the biggest note of that was like the time we went bowling.
Yeah.
He's just like, dude, I had to look up tables. Like, I don't even know what's happening. Like I found this bowling table and we just rolled with like what was happening. Because it was just like, how do you prepare for the players to be like, nah, we're going bowling, dog. We ain't actually progressing this. We're doing bowling. Like, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, forget the story. What about the bowling?
And
You all need to know
perfect
that
300.
Sinnoh Bowling League is a national sport. Like, you all needed to know about that.
Listen,
It's
if
very
you're in-
important.
It is funny because in session 0, that was like a noted part of Gimli's lore. It was like
Yeah.
he bowls with Trevor, and like I was like, this probably isn't going to come up. And then one
came
whole
up.
session was devoted to it, and he destroyed because he was supposed to. It was really
Practically a
cool.
professional. I'm just like every other dad.
Yeah, important Gimli lore episode, I think.
Yeah. It's cool that like little stuff like that comes up, whether it's like that or even like in the Salandit encounter when Gimli bowls the rug and bowls Trevor into Salandit before Cindy can catch it. Like it's cool that little stuff like that comes out. You guys have all done an outrageously good job of like characterizing and writing and preparing. And I gotta give you guys props for that. I like clearly with experience, like it's gotten better and better, but I have a theater background, right? Like I've grown up acting, and you guys have all put a really interesting twist in my perspective of like improv as an entire art form, and you guys kill it with that. So just thought you should know you guys did a really good job with that, and your characters are on point. I love how consistent they are, and how unique they are as well. Like I know you guys mentioned at one point around maybe season 3 that you guys have kind of at that point started falling into the stereotypical D&D archetypes of like your tank, your mage, your rogue, and your healer. But beyond just being archetypes, you guys all did a killer job just making your characters unique and themselves and solidified in the world they're in. So thank you for that. It's made listening to the show really cool.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. So obviously, at the time this is being recorded, you guys just posted your unedited 8-hour 2-part finale on your Patreon, which you guys should all go subscribe to by all means. That's the viewers at home, not you guys. Yeah, you should give yourselves.
I am sub to our own thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. We gotta support the cause. Yeah.
Of course. But no, everybody at home definitely go visit their Patreon. That link will be in the description below. That special, that 8-hour 2-part finale is now live on your Patreon. Do you have plans that you can share with us? This will be going live on Wednesday the 7th, I believe, on free feeds. Yeah, Wednesday the 7th on free feeds. Do you have any plans that are to come for Dunsparce and Drampa in the future? Anything that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, stay tuned. Definitely give a listen to that finale, the edited version, and we'll try not to let you down. But
Outstanding.
Give it a listen.
I have no reason to believe you'll let us down. It's going to be super exciting. If it were another pay week when Rent did not just come out, that $30 would have been speed running directly to your Patreon.
That's very kind.
When I saw that it was an 8-hour special, I was like, oh, dude, give me another week.
We're hoping it'll come closer to 6 by the time that our editor
it should be
clears
when
out
it's
it,
edited down. Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, who knows?
Also, shout out Kira for just being a killer editor.
Oh yeah, she's our goat. Yeah,
She's the goat.
absolutely.
She's
for
the
sure.
goat, truly. Also, so fun when she plays as well.
Yeah.
Truly.
I remember the Christmas episode was baller. It was so good.
Yeah.
Cool. So the flow of these questions, it does not exactly match things, but whatever, we're gonna roll with it. When did you guys realize, did you have a moment that you realized that you were like starting to create something really special with Dunsparce and Drampa? So like, I know we talked about like there was a moment where you kind of had like not a whole lot of consistent or constituent listeners, but now that's clearly not the case. You guys are rocking it out and creating something awesome. Was there a moment that you realized that what you were making was bigger than what you thought it would be?
Yeah, I think I've said this before in like some of the post shows and stuff, and I think it's detectable if you start the Patreon like at the very beginning. The table got together not to make content. We all met from content because during the pandemic we all like streamed and we hung out in like other streamer circles and stuff, and that's how we all met. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to run a game.
Yeah,
I was recording for my own notes, and I think in one of the post shows I'm like, we could just like upload this, like why not? And everyone was like, cool, sounds good. And then for quite a long time, that was just it. We just had like our families and friends listening. And then Spotify made the decision to say, nope, everyone gets this now. And they are still every month are showing the podcast to 1 million people every month, which is crazy, putting it on their home screen and stuff. And yeah, so I guess that summer, was it 2023 maybe?
Yeah, it kind of exploded 2023 was the right time frame.
Just one summer Spotify was just like, everyone listens to this now. It was like on the charts and stuff. I was like, this is crazy.
You're like, what's happening? I definitely have actively tried to ignore the fact that it's happening so I don't forget it's still just a game.
Right.
Like that's the big thing especially for me, but I think everyone else kind of
for all of us, that's the core of it, is that like even though like that has changed, like the listener base has changed, and we get all this feedback and fan art and really cool stuff. At the end of the day, when we sit down to play, we are just playing. And I think that's part of what makes it so fun and special also, is because like, yeah, like we'd be down to make good content, but that's not the focus. The focus is having fun.
Sure. Yeah. That's really cool. I remember that Spotify boom very vividly because I was part of it. I saw the logo and I was like, this is really interesting, because I got to a point where I was just getting into D&D like a little bit, and I've been a Pokemon fan since I was a kid, so this was exactly at the perfect time and the perfect place for it.
Apparently there's a lot of people with that intersection.
Yeah,
actually
seemed to line up really well.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys hit the jackpot with that, I think.
I guess so, yeah.
Cool. How has this campaign affected your relationships with like each other, as well as both the IP of Pokemon and the player experience of D&D and tabletop RPGs?
Can we start with someone else? Just for
sure.
pacing?
Yeah. Okay. We can go in reverse order. We can start with Grace.
Let's do that.
Sure. I think definitely, like, as far as with the other players, like, I definitely think we're a lot closer now. I mean, we all met because we watched Gabby Snyder on Twitch, who's a Pokemon commentator. So just, like, starting from, like, just viewers in a Twitch chat to now, like, we have this podcast together and we're all such good friends, I think is really cool. And as far as, like, relationship with Pokemon and D&D in general, I don't know. I think I've grown up playing Pokemon, like you said, like I think all of us have for the most part. And I think just the love for it has grown, and exploring it in new ways is always going to be so fun. And I'm so glad that we get to do that. And as far as D&D goes, just the idea of always going for something that you might think is crazy is so fun to me. And like exploring that through playing Elodie and like with the other players, because they often make those decisions of like, what if I just did the crazy thing? I think it's just such a fun thing, and that's like, to me, the best way to play D&D, because it's like no holds barred. You're never going to regret not doing anything because you're just doing the fun thing. And I think that's really cool that a lot of us do that. And I definitely recommend that way of playing D&D rather than being cautious all the time.
Yeah, it seems fun. No, yeah, for sure. Elodie went to the moon. Like, that's that's so awesome to me. I thought about that when I was going back through the catalog, and I was like, that really did happen. And it was super, like, you know, when you go back through like the lore, if you were to retell the story of Dunsparce and Drampa, like in the grand scheme of things, like percent wise of the episodes that were spent on it, you were like, oh, there was this little like bout where Elodie went to the moon and came back on a flying cake rocket. And and then
that's like standard stuff.
Yeah, pretty normal.
That's not anything crazy.
So I love that philosophy kind of going into D&D. Super cool insight. Love that. Melissa, what about you?
So like we've been playing this campaign for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really gotten to know each other. And like also over the course of that time, like me and CJ went from dating to getting married, like throughout this whole time. So like that was just, in the background of like all this happening. Also for the finale, we all met in person for the first time ever, like for some of us ever.
Wow.
And I feel like that really brought us together even closer. Like we were already close, but like meeting in person was like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah.
What was the other part of the question? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's just how is it the show affected your relationships with the Pokemon franchise as well as D&D as a player of the game?
For me,
hasn't,
like especially
fine,
with like, no, you're fine. As far as like D&D, Richie's probably the best DM I've ever played with.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Very sweet.
I love that Richie's like, I'll never say no unless it actually is impossible. But in most cases, he's like, sure, try it. And I like that a lot. I like having the option to, like Grace said, do the crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why not?
Sure. Yeah, I have to agree with that sentiment. Rich, after I heard the show like prior to ever really playing a proper campaign, and I have been disappointed by every DM since, because your philosophy on like I'll never say no and you can try something, and like your rule of cool stuff, like you definitely do a good job of like exemplifying that being present in a campaign and being at the heart of it, is because like you've allowed so much stuff that was just like, this probably shouldn't happen, but it's really cool and I love it, so we'll make it happen. Like, and that has made it really so much more enjoyable as a listener. And it's also, maybe it spoiled me for D&D, where I get let down now by other DMs who don't have the same policy. It makes me honestly want to have more spare time to DM so that I could also adopt that philosophy, so that I could give another player that experience.
That's very kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. CJ, what about you?
As far as like, obviously my relationship with the group, we're all great vibes now. We have like, especially with meeting up, we have like crazy inside jokes now that make no sense at all to anyone else. And it's great.
I have Sponge with me.
You bought more Sponge. Like,
yeah, I have my Sponge.
The Sponge is insane. But like, and obviously the growth of like my own personal relationship with Melissa, like she's downstairs, like we're in the same house right now. It's great. Yeah. It's so crazy to watch like this little project has evolved with us and our relationship in general. It's really interesting to listen to from that perspective. But like, as far as Pokemon and D&D, like I've been playing D&D for like a long time, since like high school, and I'm like 32 now. Mm-hmm. So like I'm like, so I actually had like no growth in terms of how I play the game. This is exactly how I play every game. I'm just like big burly melee tank boy, and I just want to protect my friends, and nothing has changed. I play the same character every time. Mm-hmm. So it's like that hasn't changed. And like Pokemon, I have a full like water Pokemon sleeve going on. Like sick. Pokemon's been in my life since I was like 4. So like the relationship's the same. I nerd out on every aspect of it. I play the card game, I play Pocket, I play VGC, I touch every touchstone of Pokemon that I can. Like, nice. None of that has changed, which is kind of weird that it's just another thing that I found to add in to the whole pool of that. So I guess that's how I evolved. It's just how much Pokemon stuff can I consume? Yeah, is like the biggest thing.
It's super refreshing to talk to somebody who has that experience where you are consuming so much Pokemon and interacting with so much Pokemon and still so clearly in love with it as well.
Yeah.
It's very easy to, at least from my point of view, like I've been competing a lot this year, and next year I probably plan to like ramp up my competitive season for the TCG, but like there's times when I'm like, dude, I don't want to play this game. And to see you that like so clearly in love with it in like every facet of it is so refreshing and exciting. It makes me aspire to want to be that.
Yeah. So I'm like a teacher as well, like a high school teacher. And I actually brought Pokemon into my classrooms when there's like an event happening. Like some kids will want to watch like, like a baseball like game is on or something, and they want to watch it on a stream. Mm-hmm. And I'll like, no, we're watching this Pokemon stream. And then we'll all sit there. They actually like had no idea who the players were. And some of my kids were like gathered around the thing. They're like, who are we voting for? And they picked that guy. I gave them some kind of lore behind the players and stuff. And they're like, we're going for that guy. And then when he lost, they just freaked out. They were so pissed. It was like a whole event. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I need to spread this influence more. They need to be corrupted into this world like I am.
Indoctrinate them. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, indoctrinate the youth. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Rich, your time has come. How has this campaign affected your relationships with all the players as well as Pokemon and D&D?
Yeah, I just have to mirror what everyone else has been saying about our interpersonal relationships. Obviously, we got along by, memeing in Gabby's Twitch chat, and we hang out in Discord servers and stuff, and that's all cool and good. But obviously, if you play a game together for 4 years, you're going to get to know each other a little bit better. And also, meeting up for the finale was also just immaculate vibes, just really easy, socially, and fun, and just a great time, and all that jazz. As far as Pokemon, yeah, as we all do, I adore the franchise a lot. I think the impact it had on me as a child was like incredibly formative in like the things that I value among like people and relationships, and this cool idea of this like very ecology focused solar punk utopia world just like is really fascinating. And I just love the premise of people like being more harmonious with technology and nature in really cool and novel ways. And not to get too far into it, but the franchise as a whole is just wonderful. I love creatures, monsters. I can't get enough of them, and I think Pokemon just nails it every time. TTRPGs is interesting because a big reason why I ran this game in the first place is because there's a lack. This is one of the most beloved franchises in the world, and I feel like that there is like, it seems difficult at first, but there is a natural blend to be had as Pokemon trainers in a TTRPG environment. And I think people crave that clearly, because we did, because we made the table, and now there's a bunch of listeners that also crave it. So I think if anything, it taught me that, for better or for worse, TTRPGs are beloved by nerds, and I love nerds. I'm a huge nerd. I think nerds sometimes maybe get too focused on the words on the page, on the rules. They'll say, oh, I can't really run a Pokemon campaign because I can't really like homebrew all that stuff. Like, that just sounds like a lot of work. Or like, I'm going to tell my players that they can't do this because it just doesn't make sense in the rules. And I think we have to take that theater artistic part of us that we all kind of share and marry it to a rule system, so that the rules don't like dictate what happens, but are more of a tool to use to facilitate storytelling. And I know that all of us at this table come from a more artsy kind of background, and I think that that's the beauty and the fun part of it. And a lot of what Dungeons and Daddies specifically inspired with Dunsparce and Drampa is that their DM, I can't forget, Anthony, I forget his name. I think that's it. I don't know. It's very much the idea. It's like, I'm going really deep. The storytelling it feels like one of the most primal human activities. Like, it feels like one of the most core things that you can share with other people. And I want that to be more celebrated and helped by the rules rather than the other way around. So that's how you got Dunsparce and Drampa. And that's how the Dunsparce and Drampa influenced my relationship with TTRPGs. I'll play 5e normally now, and my viewing and experience of it has changed because of that in that regard.
Yeah. Also, it is Anthony Birch, who I didn't realize is also in Borderlands 2, one of my favorite video games.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, I do love that sentiment. You're super right about storytelling. That is, like we kind of talked about, like that is the heart of what this show is that every player or enjoyer of Pokemon has a story. And those are the things that make Pokemon so cool. There's the stories that are told through either a player's experience or a story in the games, or even just a story of a game, right? Like, this is like, I forgot the word entirely for what it is. Anecdotal. But some of the most fun games of competitive TCG I've ever played in my life have been at like the absolute just goober brackets, where you've gone like 2 losses and a tie, and you have to like win out the rest of your day to even make day 2. And I play up against the most ridiculous decks. Like, I played up against a mill deck back in the Silver Tempest format that I ended up winning on like a coin flip, but he was super chill and we knew that it wasn't super high stakes. So it's just the most fun, and like a story that can be told even in just the context of like one game of one player to another, or in a huge group like in Dunsparce and Drampa. Like, those are the things that make Pokemon so cool. Like, are the creatures and monsters awesome? Yes, but I think their fantasticalness is mostly just a really great vehicle for stories to be told with, and that's what I admire about it, and what I admire about how you guys have performed. Like I said, just done a killer job, and I think that philosophy is super evident in all of you guys. Awesome. Wow, that was really good.
It's a long one.
Yeah. And on that note, I also would like to, I promise this is not just me like kissing up to Richie the whole time, but I do want to point out, because we were talking about favorite moments, I want to point out the 2 of my favorites, at least since like binging the first 2 seasons. The Team Magma base and the Hoopa arc are both outrageously good. They're so well written. I love that. I love how well, Rich, that you write both. Like, you're such a dual. Like, there's such a duality in the way you write. There's like this crazy whimsy of like this food fight with a trickster god, and then also like an experience that's genuinely harrowing, right? Like, the first and second time I listened to the tapes in the Team Magma base, I got chills. Like, so good. And there's so many moments like that. It's super cool because later on I ended up playing the one shot that it seems you based the Hoopa dungeon off of.
Oh yes, it's like it's a trick house, fun house vibe.
I remember playing it after listening to the Hoopa arc, and I was like, wait a minute,
I
know what this is.
Yeah.
And of course my DM, who luckily I'm very good friends with, who was like, all right, I need you to make sure you don't metagame too much. And I was like, I will do my best. But cool. Moving swiftly on. How has each of your perspective or perception of like the Quacko Packo as a whole, or any particular individual characters changed? Like, if you have, like, maybe if you've had a really big shift in opinion on like Symmetra as a character, or like Maxie and Archie, or just the Packo as a whole. What are your thoughts on that? We'll start with you again, Rich.
Sure. Oh gosh, I mean, I already rambled on about how I loved Schmidt's arc and development, and something I didn't specify, which I will get into right now, is that he keeps a core part of his character like continuously that goes on. Like, he still gets a little bit of that isekai. Like, I think he humorously was like put into this kind of chosen one situation, which I think is generally unhealthy for TTRPGs. But I knew it would work because of how Schmidt rejects his destiny, kind of. And I love how he maintained that despite like becoming more amicable to other things. Just without going too much into it, I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I have to gas up a different character now, probably. And while I love all of them, they're all wonderful. I love Elodie's Dewford arc. I think it really taps into the part of the fairy type that is like mischievous and devious and impidimp. I always think of impidimp, just like, like I'm gonna mess your shit up kind of vibe. Like, fairies aren't always like pleasant and pink and like cute. You know, sometimes they're just bastards because they can be. Yeah. And I feel like that Elodie was on that arc there, and it was really cool. I don't want to suggest that Cindy and Gimli also didn't experience growth throughout the campaign, but I think their character types were much more set in from the start and didn't have growth in the same way. They did experience growth, but I think Schmidt and Elodie had the most like, this is a new part of me that's being explored, and I thought that was really cool. Does that answer the question? I feel like I might have deviated on that a little bit.
No, that mostly like answers it pretty well. Or I guess maybe what I was more getting at is like, if you've had not like the character that itself has grown, but like the way you think of them, has that changed at all? And if so, how?
I mean, it's changed with the player characters. Okay. I can't really speak to any NPCs. I saw this question, maybe it was on the CGC Discord, I don't remember, but someone was asking like, oh, who's like your self-insert NPC? And I was like, I don't really have one. Like, the NPCs to me like are there to support the players more than they are to like be self-inserts. I don't really know. I don't know how to put it. So I'm going to say the player characters, but it hasn't been in a way that's like unprecedented. Like, they've been growing as you would by exploring a character that resembles a part of yourself over 4 years. It makes sense, and it's really cool and beautiful to see.
Yeah, gotcha. CJ, what about you? Do you have a character that like your opinion of them as a character has totally shifted throughout the campaign, or like the group as a whole? From like an objective point, like outside looking in, not so much growth.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about. Well, I love the Archie and Maxie gay uncles arc. That's one of my personal favorites. They just have a place in my heart now that I didn't think they had before because they were just villains. For sure. So like my perception of Archie and Maxie has definitely shifted in a big way towards like, I just love these two, and it's not because of anything they actually did in the actual Pokemon lore. It's just something we made up. No, that's been like a huge perception for me.
Yeah. I love that. I also now can't unsee the uncles.
Right.
They're just
Like you
married.
just
It's
look at
gotta
it
be
like
canon.
you're like, no,
Like-
it's canon now. It just makes sense. Like
Yeah.
there's no way it isn't anymore.
They have to be married. It's mandatory.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. There's no other way I can see it now. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I like that insight a lot because I share it. Melissa, what about you? Are there any characters or has there a way that the Paco has changed that you perceive them differently?
I mean, I know definitely at the beginning, like me as a player, I was like, I trust Sam wholeheartedly. No bad vibes here. None at all. Everything's good. And everyone was like, no. I was like, I don't understand. She seems great. So obviously that changed as we learned more about her. There's only so much I can say with the finale.
Right.
Not
We learned a
out
lot
yet,
about
but
there's a lot hinted close to the finale that obviously, feel no pressure, like don't spoil anything obviously, but like there we do learn a lot. She's kind of shady up until that point. She gets shady early on, in fact. At least I think so.
She
Oh,
got
yeah, no doubt.
shadier earlier than the players detected, for
Yeah.
sure.
oh, so many failed perception
Nothing like
checks.
failed perception checks.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
So,
our favorite
it's
thing.
so many.
So
It's like a meme at
Always
this
been a
point.
So
theme
funny.
too. Like I didn't realize it when you guys were starting to meme on it in like the later episodes. I was like, oh, this is funny because lately it's been really bad. But then
No, the whole time.
The whole time.
every perception check is terrible.
I've never seen anything, bro. Ever. I've never seen anything.
Everybody's going on perceiving literally worse than Callisto, who has one eye, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's got 2 eye patches on. It's great. Oh yeah. No, Sam is such a good character as well. And like my perception has changed of her too. I'm still very much like oh my god, what is her deal? And of course I'll have to wait a little bit to find out, but oh man. It's what's kept me coming back to a lot of her arcs. So I definitely share that sentiment as well. Grace, you're up next. How has your perception of the Paco or a character changed over the duration of the show?
Yeah, I think one that is more recent that doesn't get talked about enough is Yuri and his arc.
Yeah.
Because that started off with just like, who is this twink who is just so stupid and is telling us he's gonna blow up the moon, and Gimli just obliterates him, and we're like, that guy's
Yep.
so stupid.
Yeah.
To now like one of possibly an ally or something,
Mhm.
making such a change. I think that was a really interesting change in arc
Mhm.
of what he's up to, what his motivations are. I think something that'll be really interesting to explore. Which is interesting. Cool character that I never expected we would like actually learn more about and like see a depth to, that I think is really cool that like Richie does with that, of like characters like, and even with Sam, like we met her and it was just like, oh, there's just some random girl, whatever, we're gonna help her out. And now like such depth that she's had and the complications with the party and everything. I think that's really cool.
I don't think anything could have prepared me for like how like the longevity that Symmetra's character had. Just because like when I first listened through, I was like, oh, this is a cool side character. I wonder when she'll leave. Not that I was excited for it because like she was a good character, but I wasn't expecting her to have the longevity and impact she did. I also like totally agree. Yuri is incredible at this point. Like it's really interesting. He's a really cool change, and I think what makes him so cool as a change is that you guys also played him in the NRG one shots.
Yeah.
And so having that like not bizarro world, but like that like same universe, same players playing this different character that we understand to like just be some twink that we don't like, but also have like his own growth and development is super, super interesting. And it's cool to like have that curtain peeled back a little bit to see like, oh, he's just a guy sometimes also. So I really like that. Have any of you? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, take a man's fish and he changes.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
also had another character that I just remembered, Vince Winstraight.
Yes.
Mm.
I love Vince.
Oh,
Yeah.
There
like,
it is.
my
Yeah.
heart goes out.
We've been doing like talk back like we've been like listening back to early
and
episodes
talking over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like he's in like one of the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
And he's just going, power, like
Yeah.
pride, let's go, fight, win.
Yeah.
And like to where he ended up and what happened to him
Yeah.
Yeah.
was a whole arc as well. And like seeing him at the different times that we did,
Mm-hmm.
like his growth in the background.
Yeah.
That's a great shout. I I had no idea how impactful his arc would be. We've all shed, maybe not everyone, but I've shed some tears over him, and he's just a made up guy.
Yeah,
just a dude. Yeah,
he's just a dude that I wanted to put in the Winstraight house. That's like it.
He's just a funny character with Dragonaires.
Yeah, but no, like holy cow, yeah, that's crazy. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, huge shout. I just finished like listening to the episode where where everybody gets like a move taught at the Winstraight house. I was like, dude, they have no idea what's coming. So good. Have any of you had the way you perceive your own character change throughout the duration of the show? Maybe that's really deep, but
it's not that deep. I think I had a lot of discussions on our Discord about this very recently, so it's like, and it came up like that like I feel, and maybe it's my perception of my character versus like I think a lot of D&D people as a whole, because I fancy myself in terms of party members like to be the most like supportive oriented character across all of them. And I don't think people like to do that as D&D players in general.
Sure.
And I feel like it's very important to have those characters to like exist for the sake of like really telling a good story, to like help prop other people up and make some of those key moments happen. And I don't think people like to do that, because I've been noticing it too, especially like I also help run D&D club at my high school that I work at. And like a lot of them just want to be the main character, and I was like, dog, there's 6 of you. Like you'll have your like your moment, but like you're not all the main character. Like some, you gotta prop each other up sometimes. That's how you get these cool moments of like Schmidt, like his entire arc is like amazing because of like we're all here too, like because we can make everything happen together. And then this is his moment, and then this is Sydney's moment, this is Ellie's moment, even I have my moments. Like it's important that everyone gets their moment, but at the same time, like if you're not coming together to all be like a team, like what are we doing? Like we're not telling a good story. Like
that's so good. Yeah, definitely. That's I can't add anything to that. You said that so beautifully. Okay. A little different now, a slight change of like of not pace, but like of topic. But like, what's your favorite part of the show been from like producing it, right? I know, Rich, before you guys had Kira, you were also editing the show, doing everything. Actually, before this question, where did you guys get the intro music from?
Oh, yeah, that was a composition. So I got my bachelor's in music, which is funny because I like never use it, but
Awesome.
like, you know. So I had a bunch of classmates, and one of them was my good friend Aoife Peterson, who is a composer. They were going through a big EDM kind of trap phase, and I was like, you don't just make me some interstitial theme music that I can put in a podcast? And she said, cool. So that was just an early on. I love finding excuses to purchase art from my friends. So that was a really great opportunity to do that. We have some additional music for the final episode as well that I commissioned from another classmate that I had in college. So hope everyone's looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Okay, and then back to the main part of this question is, what has y'all's favorite part of the show been from like producing it, right? Maybe we nixed just like the specifically like obviously sitting down to record the show is awesome. But what's your favorite part of like behind the scenes, Ben?
I mean, I'll be so for real. I'm not really involved with any of the behind the scenes. Like I do a little bit with like merch stuff, like helping design and make
that's
merch.
Included
but
in
like
this. Absolutely.
Okay, I totally forgot about that, but I was about to say, like, I don't edit, so I don't even listen to most of the episodes. Like, the talkback is the first time I've listened to some of the episodes. Like, it's crazy to think that there are so many people who have consumed more of the like our content than we've made than like we have as like participating in it. Like, yeah, we're recording it, we're playing, but a lot of times like that we record, we play, we walk away. And then there are people who listen to it again and again and again, and like that's really crazy that like that's happening.
Yeah, for sure. What about the rest of you?
So I don't know if it connects with it, but like we're playing a homebrew game, so like producing the game has been a big to do for this, like, because I think that's a hard thing with homebrew in general. Just like I've played so many different D&D formats in my time in the games, and like the homebrew stuff is really difficult because if you're not cooperating, like you almost feel like you're fighting to get this thing happen that you want to do. Sorry, my cat just jumped on my lap.
Okay.
So like we always sit down and cooperate on these rules and like come up with caveats and like being like, oh, I didn't like that, let's actually adjust this together. And like that whole process of really developing a game from not completely from scratch, like obviously there's derivatives to it, but like it's been really fun to just like make a game happen in a way, like very organically too, because we're just playing it week to week and just always like we're basically play testing it for 4 years and just keep developing it and making it better. And it's been really just such an enjoyable part of the process.
Yeah. And you guys have released like a lot of that information on your Patreon, correct?
Yeah, it's a tricky balance.
Legally,
I am more
sure.
I'm more in the world of showing people like, this is my first time DMing. If I can do it, you can do it too. Is kind of the idea. And what CJ said is we're very fortunate that we just have this dynamic where we just are down to collaborate. It's awesome. We like just agree on what makes sense and what sounds cool. But not that this is like a major concern of mine, but acknowledging the things that makes not just Nintendo but Wizards of the Coast angry is distribution of materials. Is that to say that I couldn't make a system and share it for free and not get in trouble? It'd probably be fine. But like, I don't think it's worth risking doing, because one, our system changes literally every session. Like we'll just throw something in. We added having if a Pokemon or a character makes a save and they get a 1, then it's a critical hit, because we're like, well, how are you supposed to crit flamethrower if there's no crits if they make a save, right? So like we're just constantly like, introducing these elements, and like you get a perfect dodge if you crit a save, stuff like that. That doesn't exist in other TTRPG systems. Yeah, I want to show people that they can do it themselves and not distribute it. Not just for the fear of getting a cease and desist, but more just to show like it's more fun if you just do it yourself.
Yeah. Interesting.
To answer your question specifically, though, besides the game, my favorite production element is just seeing the TikToks that Grace makes. Just like, because like she doesn't loop us in, she just does them, and they're just like, dude, this is awesome.
They're so good too.
Just it's like a little birthday present every time.
I love it. Grace, what about you? Is yours the TikToks, or is there a second thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say making the TikToks, because I will say now, like I have to go back and listen to the podcast in order to like make the TikToks that I edit directly from the podcast itself, and I'll just be listening to episodes and I will just burst out laughing, because like we're just, honestly, everybody here is so funny. And I'm laughing in the moment, and then I'm like laughing like months later when I'm listening back to it, and it like always catches me off guard. Yeah, genuinely, it's just fun doing that, because y'all are so funny.
Yeah, you guys are hilarious. It's so good, and your TikToks are killer every single time. Every one of them I've seen has had me cackling. So good. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is sort of in the same vein, back to gameplay and moment to moment like action in the show that we were talking about earlier. But how has the way that for Rich, the way you write the show or the story, or for any of the players, how you have played a character changed over time? Just in like the way that you think that they have changed, or like a way that they handle different situations, or like how has your interaction with your character or the world that you've created changed?
That's, for my end, that's kind of tricky to say, because as far as like we're talking about like writing, what's been written regarding the campaign is like the beginning and the end. That's like that's really all I wrote. I had ideas for beats and plot points, and like, well, it would be cool if this was here. But the idea of this campaign, and maybe my philosophy for running games in general, is that there should be a plot, and if you ignore the plot still happens, even if you're not a part of it. And the rest of it's a sandbox. So like you get the options to like, oh, I'd rather do this than do the plot. Cool, the plot's still going to happen. It's going to catch up to you at some point, but go do that. So nothing, I'm going to say nothing and everything has changed, because I'm not creating like that much input. I'm seeding NPCs and stuff, but I like to joke in the Discord, and you'll probably ask these what if kind of questions in the future. And I like to joke that like when someone asks what if, I always say, well, we'll never know, because the Paco didn't do it. So it's not in the world, so I can't answer that kind of, you know. There's some exceptions, of course, but my philosophy is I'm changing nothing, and also everything is changing, but that's because of the story that the players are telling, not because I'm manipulating things, other than the bits and bops that I think are cool.
Gotcha. Interesting. Are there beats that you and feel free not to answer this, but are there beats that you have like forced in, that you knew this has to happen this way? Or was it just kind of like you said, you have the beginning and the end, and like some beats that are mostly optional that happen or don't happen?
I'm trying to avoid railroading in general. Sometimes you got to do it a little bit, but I can't think of a time where I like told the party like, no, this is the only option.
Mhm.
I don't think that ever came up. If that answers your question.
It does.
But also something regarding that too that I think DMs are afraid of as well is that there were plenty of things that I had seeded that didn't come up. And not most of them weren't lost to time. I just recycle them. Put a new coat of paint on it and put it in a different town, and then you don't have to, it's less prep for you, and it's just like everything gets to be experienced. So
Very
does that make
cool.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. CJ, how has the way you play Gimli, and you kind of touched on it earlier, but how has the way you have been Gimli changed over time as it pertains to like the world of Dunsparce and Drampa in particular? Because I've noticed some changes. I want to see if you have anything on your mind.
For me, I don't know. I haven't really noticed. My character's like shockingly the most consistent character in the entire thing, and I feel like for good reason. He's literally the rock of like the entire squad. Like everyone's allowed to change, but he's just the dad. He has his thing that he's got to get done, and he's gonna get it done, and it's gonna take a while to get there, and he's gonna be for anything along the way. But it's like I feel like I played the straight man of this game very much so, and I feel like it was pretty necessary.
We needed,
but
one.
it was like we needed one, right?
Yeah,
it was
sure.
like the consistent guy. He's gonna do the thing that you expected, but like there were still like it's even with that, I still got the moments that I was looking for to get out of it. That even if like Gimli Ultimate didn't change his motivation, everything's the same. Like even going through like the ending of the game, he's still consistent. Like still consistent the whole time, and I think that's like I was very determined not to change anything.
Okay.
And I felt like I held true to that really well. Like I didn't want to change this guy. He is just a jovial dude that wants to find his kid. Like that's the whole game, and that's what I did. I didn't want to do anything different, and I think I kind of succeeded in that, like to the bitter end almost. So I guess in that regard, it's like staying the rock was the best thing I could have done for the character.
Certainly. And it's cool because you had moments even early on, and throughout the whole show really that gave Gimli a chance to break out of that like straight man type of vibe a little bit. So the first thing that I think of, but there's two that I think of, right? So early on when Team Energy is setting up the like triangulation device on the beach.
That's the one I think of the most. Yeah, when he's really got aggressive with them.
When
I was like,
super
this ain't
aggressive,
cool, bro.
That is like a moment where Gimli is, he takes a turn that it's like, oh, this is a very different side. And at first glance it looks like, oh, this is a development from Gimli like becoming more intense, but then as the story progresses you realize that's just a facet of his character. Because like you go on to further parts where he has those moments of like, no, I'm serious, even down to like in more recent episodes when he's holding down Semele to prevent her from escaping in the energy blimp. Like it's really cool, and you've done a fantastic job of making that consistency a thing. I think it's really interesting that you have, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but you made those moments frequent and intentional and reasonable as well as the rock of the group.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty intentional, but just trying to look at the moment and play the character as if I think it's correct. Like it's like, even if it ended up being like, I really, really worked hard to try not to deviate too much to what he was, because he's just the older guy, right?
Yeah.
He already is kind of set in like his ways of what he wants too. Like that was the intention of playing like this more older character, was like everyone else is young and like still figuring themselves out overall. Like I think both of our characters, like we had our older characters in mid-20s, one of them's literally a teenager. Like they're just learning as they go, and he's like, I'm just a guy who's worked in the mines. Like this is my life. Like I very much solidified in what I want. So it's like I kind of felt that like in a lot of ways, especially for how he stood. Like you just cited the energy setting up the thing. He's like, I'm not standing for that. That's not cool. Like, you don't mess with that stuff. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're not doing shady stuff. It's like, you sure are. Like, there's no way I'm standing for that. Yeah, like, there's no way you're not. Stop it. Like,
super cool.
No nonsense.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah, I don't have anything to add to that.
No.
All right, Melissa, your turn. How has the way you have played Cindy changed over time? If at all? I think there's been a
I
couple
don't
things.
feel like I've changed too much. So what I've learned with TTRPGs is I have to play a character that's just me in whatever form that I'm playing. Like, so all my chaotic decisions are just top of the head. Like, well, what if I just did this? I'm gonna do that. This is a good idea, and then she's just like, this is a bad idea, and So I feel like me as a player, like I haven't changed all that much. I feel like there have more recently got points where I was like, let me not try to be in a stupid place and not get hit as much. But like every other combat, Cindy's being knocked unconscious, and
True.
that has not changed.
She's a
at all.
snoozer. Yeah, that's super cool. No, I think back to, again, in recent episodes, between like the Hoopa arc and then immediately getting into combat, and you were knocked out and then back up and then knocked out again and then back up a little bit.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the meme.
Frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
Cindy is narcoleptic, just constantly snoozing. It's really good.
More does
Oh.
stupid things and wins stupid prizes, but yeah.
Yeah. That's still the same thing. It works. I definitely see a lot of like cool, like you said, change, and I think it's interesting because Cindy is the youngest character of the Paco, right? So like she's what is the canon age of Cindy? I forget.
Actually, Cindy is the only character that has a birthday throughout the course
Yeah,
of
that's
the
true.
campaign.
September 16th,
So
right?
she starts off at 14,
Mhm.
lying to everybody, saying like, I'm 18, I'm an adult, is not an adult, is a child, and then has her 15th birthday in prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. It's 15. Oh my gosh.
It's so
So we
funny
get-
to remember.
So funny. Every time we
Giant
reflect
cake.
on that, it's
The
like, oh yeah, the
cake.
giant cake.
Gregory.
So good.
Oh, poor Gregory
Those
never got
poor
a cake.
cogs.
Gregory never
Oh
got
my
his
gosh.
Yeah,
cake.
poor Gregory, dog.
Rip Gregory. That's so
So,
awesome.
like, so Cindy does have a birthday, so there's like visible growth in that regard, that she is
Yeah.
like actually having a birthday and becoming older. And some of the not choices that she makes, but like her relationship with her parents and stuff like that. There's like some plot elements for like her story that happen.
Her
Um,
competency as a trainer, certainly.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's like a growth of Melissa too in general, because even she'll cite that she's like, I don't know the
I don't know
type
what's
chart,
happening.
dude. Like
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm
the
really
type
trying
chart.
to figure out as I go, man. I don't.
Still don't know the type chart.
Yeah.
It's
Fire
complicated.
good.
I also don't know the type chart. It's not that important, I'm sure. Cool.
It
All right.
I mean, right, the episode where Cindy beat her parents is, yeah, like,
That's how.
she's like, I don't
Huge
care
character
if you're a
growth.
water type.
Huge.
I'm
moment.
just gonna burn it with fire.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Cindy did not just slaughter her parents there it sticks out to me a lot, because like you have this just deep-seated like hatred for Cindy has this deep-seated hatred for her parents. It seems maybe that's a misnomer, but correct me if I'm wrong. But like it seems that way, that it is like resentment for her parents this whole campaign, and just like trying to avoid them and being exasperated even at the idea of like, oh, they were here, I don't want to deal with this, or I'm even worried if they are here, to the point where she finally does have this like moment of like facing off. And maybe in the moment it didn't seem as like dramatic from your perspective, but listening back to it, it's really impactful that she lets them survive, because especially from like the brash Cindy that of the early episodes of the show, it was definitely like a non-zero chance in my head that she's like, no, I'm just going to scorch them and let them die.
Yeah, especially after like killing so many energy grunts on the blimp in a swimsuit. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
they can all die, but like her parent, like there's something to be said about like, it's like they're still her parents at the end of the
Yeah.
day. But yeah.
That's super good. I like that a lot. Grace, you're up next. How has the way that you play Elodie changed over time?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so much to Elodie that has changed.
Yeah.
I think one thing about me with my D&D characters is they always end up like wildly different than I intend them to be. And I think with Elodie, it was just like, oh, she's just girl next door, baker. She's kind of cautious. She's just here, for a good time, to being the one who like does the chaotic things sometimes, I think was interesting. And I'll always remember like the first moment for me when I realized that's kind of where I was going was when we were in Zoe's house after it had been ransacked in Fortree, and we were deciding like who was going to go into the basement, which was like this creepy basement in the witch's house, and like we didn't know what was going on. And I was like, I want to be the one to go in the basement. Like I want to do the crazy thing. I want to do the brave thing. And I think that was the moment where I was just like, you know what? Actually, I think she's a lot braver than I give her credit for. And I think that's kind of how I want to play it going forward. That was definitely a big thing for me. And then kind of on another side of things, being the quote party healer was something that I hadn't really gone in with it intending to do that. Like I was like, everybody early on was like, oh, you know, she's kind of our support, she's kind of our healer. And I didn't, you know, bake that into the character, pun intended, at all. She was like, I was like, she's just a baker. She just does food. Yeah. Right? Like that's not inherently healing. And then to kind of learning from Toma and the Draconid art and like learning inherently how to do that, having Pokemon that learn healing moves, I thought that was kind of an interesting change that I didn't really intend, but the party kind of needed, that I thought was really cool. And something that I definitely enjoyed, like being the party healer was really fun. To kind of be like, my goal here is just like with Gimli, I just want to keep you guys alive. Like, please don't die on me. I think it was kind of interesting, kind of the two sides of that.
Definitely. I super enjoy the way that you seem to have like had that same perspective of like, I would like to keep this character the same way throughout the whole thing. And you both did it beautifully. So this is not in any way to elevate one over the other, but like Grace, you took a different path with that was not as persistent of staying the same, but you did become like a little more chaotic. You became more brave, or sorry, I guess Elodie became more chaotic, more brave, and more of like a healer and support type. And I think it's worth saying like that is a notable skill to like have that same approach of like, I would like to keep this character the same, but also here's how she is capable of change and in ways that like weren't expected maybe for you when you created Elodie. And I think that's super cool because like so some of my favorite moments are those little chaotic things where it's like we're like you're rizzing up Brandon and like, or like I said, like coming back to Hoenn from space, literally, or like or having like a stealth moment where even just trying to board the rocket in Moss Deep, right? Like all of these things where you kind of, or where Elodie kind of jumps the shark almost, but not in a way that seems outlandish, right? Just seems in character, and that character is like a byproduct of this evolving world that you guys have put yourselves in and worked and talked through.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely influenced by Cindy's chaotic energy.
Yeah. Which is funny because like they have had interactions canonically in the past, right? Like outside of the campaign, they had like met once or twice prior. I don't know if that's canon or not. I'd seen inklings of like
it was session 0. I was asked the question, do any of your characters know each other? And the vibe was a very simple, Cindy's been all over the world, so she probably ran into Elodie at some point, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Maybe I read too much into that, but still, like that's still cool that like even if just by happenstance that like there's a thread connecting those two in that way. So that's super interesting. Okay. This has kind of reached the end of the primary list of questions that I had for you about Dunsparce and Drampa as a show. And we've still got a little bit longer before I want to move on to the bonus episode. But you guys are all competitive, or at least semi-competitive VGC players. Is that correct?
All except for Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa now.
Okay, got you. Melissa, what is your
type chart?
What is your Pokemon game of choice? Or like, or even like, is it like Unite or VGC, TCG, Go?
I'm more of a shiny hunter.
That rocks. Okay.
It's all about the vibes, yeah.
I'm here for vibes. I'm here for cute Pokemon like Pogo. I'm trying to get shinies. Like I'm like, it's a community day. I don't win the community day if I don't get a shiny.
Got you.
Now with TCG Pocket, I'm like, now that they have packs with shiny Pokemon, I'm like, that's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
I don't
so
fight.
I have to like do all the AI battles for her sometimes. Like it's to that extent. She's like, I don't want to fight for this Rayquaza event, and I'm like, but like, honey, you get hourglasses so you get more shiny cards. And she's like, oh, but fighting. Oh,
okay.
Do that.
I ask that to ask this because I want to make sure I am careful with how I shape the question, right? So, anytime I have a guest on, I try to ask if there is a Pokemon that you are now a big fan of that you didn't used to be, that is the result of an experience with the game, whether that's like a deck you played or a team you played competitively, or like something within like a moment you had in like a pocket pack opening or a shiny hunt, right? If there's a Pokemon that you have that you didn't necessarily care for previously, that as a result of one of those things has moved up on your roster at all.
For sure.
Like all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot. I
There's a
have
lot.
one example in particular that
Sure.
that like Rich and Grace knows one. Like I love Liepard
Okay.
a lot because like when we met in like Gen 8 during like COVID 2020 stuff. So like I got really attached to this strategy where if you Gigantamax, I would run Hatterene with Liepard. And if you Gigantamax and you have Trick Room on your Hatterene, it comes out as Max Guard. And Liepard can copycat it and do a really fast Trick Room. And it was like my hallmark strategy. I ran it in so often in Gen 8. It was like insane. Like I got to like close to the top of the ladder. I think it was like 13th was my highest placing like on the Gen 8 ladder. Just like playing that strategy. I fought against Aaron Cybertron Zag in one video using that strategy, just crushed him with it. It was awesome.
So cool.
I love that strategy. And Liepard, I didn't like Liepard before. It was a lame Pokemon to me. But the fact that it could do that, like I just have such an attachment to that Pokemon now. Like just those two, Hatterene and Liepard in general. Like I'm like, wait, can they work again? And I'll try to like shoehorn them onto something like all the time. It was just like,
oh, that's awesome.
That comes up so often, like with all the different kinds of Pokemon. Like I would never think I get attached to things, and then it's just like, oh, I love this Pokemon now. Like,
oh, I love that. No, that is exactly what I was looking for too. Because that's so cool. Strategies like that are interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that and Crustle and Unite. I'm like synonymous with that character now, and I did not even look at Crustle at all before Pokemon Unite. Now that's my dude. Like,
wait, what's your moveset of choice on Crustle?
Oh, not even a VGC. I played him in Unite.
No, that's what I mean. Like your moveset, like a or does it just vary?
At first I was really big into like the Shell Smash X's or stuff, and that's the only way I play him. Then when it became meta for him to use like walls, I got really good at using walls. So I just started using the Rock Tomb into X Scissors was like the thing. I would just pick people off all the time. It was like I was a monster on that character.
Crustle's the go. I love him
truly
in Unite. So fun. All right. What about the rest of you? We can go with Rich next. I know you said you had a lot. What do you?
I think I misunderstood the question. I thought you were asking if Pokemon from Dunsparce and Drampa I gained additional affection for outside of Dunsparce and Drampa, but you're asking through the games that we play, right?
Yeah. So like whether it's Unite or VGC, TCG, anything like that.
So yeah, maybe not all of them, but there's certainly some. Glenn, let me ask you, how do you feel about Thundurus Incarnate?
Pretty cool.
He's just a guy, but he's my guy, and that's just from VGC. Like,
it's only VGC.
There's nothing about his aesthetic that I care about whatsoever, but he's my goat. It's Thundurus. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, Rich and team building always came back to Thundurus at some point. It's like, listen, I know Tornadus is kind of the hotness, but what if I use Thundurus here instead?
Totally. Yeah. Cool. So it's and what's funny about that is Tornadus and Thundurus, like, they look the same, but like
they do.
Thundurus is the guy though. He's the one.
He's the guy.
So, yeah. There's a bunch of mons like that. In VGC, I'd like to try and shoehorn like at least one Pokemon that I do genuinely like love before using them in VGC. In Gen 9, that happened to be two pretty good Pokemon for Farigiraf and Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle a little more, definitely more niche than Farigiraf, but I brought them to every event at this point that they've been allowed. And as a result, when you have those two mons, there's one obvious restricted legendary that you use, and it's Miraidon. I played Scarlet. I don't really care about Miraidon, but now I'm using Miraidon all the time because I'm using Iron Bundle and Farigiraf. So it's just like, it's perfect. So yeah, the competitive games definitely influence my favorites for sure.
That's super cool. Melissa and Grace, which of you would like to go next?
I can go. I have a couple. I think definitely Chandelure is one that like I did really like before VGC, but I mean I've been playing for a very long time. Back in like 2013, I used Chandelure, and then more recently, like last year, I was using Chandelure in Regulation H, and I just think it's fun to like go back to Pokemon that I used way back in the day and to be like, yeah, he's still a pretty cool guy. He can still put in a little bit of work. It more, again, kind of a niche pick, but he's kind of fun. I like to click buttons, go burr. And then another one that is again, very niche and not actually very competitively good, but was very fun to play, is Ice-Q. Before I started using him, I was like, Ice-Q's cool. He's a penguin, whatever. But then we used to do like monthly like themed competitions, and for one of them was the Ho Ho Hoedown for the holidays, and the rules were that you could only use like ice types, green and red Pokemon. I don't know, with like fire types were allowed. I don't remember all the rules.
I probably still have the list because I was the TO of
Yeah.
those events. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, CJ ran those. And my dad, because my dad plays VGC too, he came to me and he was like, "What do you think about Ice-Q?" And I was like, "Let's try it." And I didn't like win the competition. We came like top 4 or something. But I was like, "This is actually really fun," and he's so cute. And it's just a silly little guy, and he goes belly drum. And my love for Ice-Q has only grown, even though I know he'll never actually like win a competition. It's just fun. I enjoy it.
Never say never. I mean, we had Pachirisu.
It's true. We did have Pachirisu.
Iconic moment.
Iconic.
Very cool. I also have that's one of mine as well, Ice-Q, by the way. I didn't realize that he would end up being in 2 of the decks that I played like really competitively. There was a version of him that I played in a water box deck that was really potent against like a big basic strategy because it had an attack that would like prevent all damage done to it by basic Pokemon. And then there was another one in the... Have you guys heard of... I don't know how much overlap there is between what you guys play and TCG, right? If you know anything of what happens in it. But there was a pretty infamous deck just being Mew VMAX.
Oh, yeah.
There was a brief moment before rotation where Mew VMAX played the Fusion Strike Ice-Q that would snipe your opponent's bench based on the number of Fusion Strike energy attached to it. And that thing was my goat for knocking out the BBEG of the format in Charizard.
Yeah, Charizard.
So it was... I loved it for that. I played like a Misfortune Sisters in that deck just to get rid of rare candies. It was really gross. But I love Ice-Q as well. I'm glad to know that somebody else loves Ice-Q. And Melissa, I kind of have to shape it a little differently, but that's fine. Is there a hunt that you have like a particular story for that has maybe increased your affinity for a certain Pokemon? And if you have that story, by all means, I'm interested in hearing it.
I mean, recently I've been really enjoying the Pokemon that when they are shiny, they're green. Because
Okay.
it's like, oh, look at that sickly little guy. He's so
Every time.
ill. Why is
Every
he
time
so...
she'll show me a card, she's like, "Oh, dude, I pulled this Marowak, and doesn't he look
And he's
so
so ill?"
And I'm like, God, why?
Or like Pokemon
Show
Sleep
me
too.
this.
I play Pokemon Sleep.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like again, shiny hunt. I just want shinies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, a Cubone, he's sick. Bagon, look at that green little sick guy. Like,
This is
why
all the
are
time.
they all ill?
This is all the time.
so
She's like, "Look, I
good.
got another sick boy." I'm like, "Oh God."
They're so
That's
gross.
awesome because
No,
the
that's so
discourse
cool.
that I'm familiar with is shiny hunters are like, I'm sick of the green shinies, and
No,
Melissa's
she
over
loves
here is
them.
like,
she just
I
wants to
love
take
them.
care of
They're
them.
so
That's awesome.
ill.
That
I love
rules,
They're
them.
dude.
so
That-
ill.
I
They're
love
about
that
to
a lot.
puke. Look at them.
The other side of that is I also like the ones that are pink when they're shiny.
Yeah, I
'cause
was
it's
just about
like
to say.
when like the Barbie movie came out, I was like, I really want to do like Barbie themed shiny hunts for the pink Pokemon because Barbie.
That's so
very
cool.
pink, very aesthetic, very cutesy.
It's funny you say that because the Pokemon that fits into both of those categories is Whismur.
Whismur, yeah.
That's so interesting. No, I love that. I love that there's like a theme you have with your shiny hunts. That's super, super cool. And what just like things that you like. I never would have expected like, oh yeah, I like the ones that look like they're about to puke.
That's awesome.
Dude, it still catches me off guard. I see it all the time. Like,
I
they got another one. I'm like, I forgot about that.
Look at this sick bear, like 10 years. I was like, he's so
Oh.
sick.
He's just a little guy. Drudigan, who's about to
He's so
vomit.
ill.
That's so good, so good. Okay. And then I guess to that same extent, do you have maybe a party member that your affinity has changed for, as far as like your Pokemon? Or, and I guess for Rich, like any of the players' party Pokemon that your affinity has increased or changed for throughout the duration of the campaign.
Yeah, Altaria. both Blueberry and Patricia.
Mhm.
I originally was like, oh, it's an iconic Hoenn I should introduce Swablu early, etc. But they're both so cool. Like, I love
Yeah.
them both. And now I see Altari, I'm like, yeah, Dunsparce and Drampa, there's 2 of them. I just like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. CJ, what about you?
My love for Crustle has only grown stronger with my Diamondback boy.
Of
so-
course. I love him. I love lasagna.
Yeah,
I
he's
love that
so-
you
I
named
love
him
lasagna.
lasagna.
Well, he's got the layers.
No, of course. It's
Crustle's
just
got the layers.
I can't think of any other name for a Crustle now.
Right, it was the perfect,
It's
perfect name for
perfect.
Crustle.
Melissa, what about you? Any party Pokemon that you have increased affinity for?
Probably Gumi and like Gudra, that whole line. I don't know. I just, not that I didn't like them, but it's just like, oh, this is so good. And then like Cookie became like one of Cindy's like go-to I was like, oh, something's happening. Cookie can handle it in like most cases.
Yeah, I love that. On that note, by the way, for those listening at home who do not know what we're talking about, because a great many of you have, despite my protests, not listened. Cookie is a Hoennian Gudra who gains the fire typing in a really sick lava aesthetic. Entirely homebrewed, super chaotic, super fun, and just really interestingly thought out. In fact, all the regional variants that Rich concocted are super cool.
Yeah, he did a great job with those.
So good. I love every one of them. But yeah, like Cookie is super cool. I remember thinking like, no shot there's fire bubbles. That's messed up. Why would you do that? That's so cool. And such a natural step for Gudra as a Pokemon too. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Also, shout out to so much of early season Quacko Packo Pokemon being named after foods. Like Cookie, lasagna. I'm trying to think of others.
Cabbage, honestly.
Cabbage, of
Cabbage.
course.
All of
My whole
Elodie's
team
Pokemons are food.
On
yeah.
purpose. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all foods on purpose. Because
So
she's a
good.
baker.
Yeah. No, I love it. 100%. And then Grace, your turn now. Any Pokemon that your affinity has grown for?
Yeah, definitely Grape Juice the Mudkip, which is funny because Gen 3 was always one of those gens where I didn't know which starter to pick because it was always between Torchic and Trico for me.
Mhm.
Mudkip was like, I'm not that big of a fan. But now that I have Mudkip, it's like, I love all 3 of them so much.
So good.
Grape Juice, just such a cutie. And our only shiny, which is very fun. And purple's my favorite color. So I was like, perfect. I'll take a purple Pokemon any day.
Oh yeah, Grape Juice is the only shiny. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So cool. That kind of puts us around where I wanted to be. Is there any questions that a lot of you have for me before we start wrapping things up and move into the bonus?
I don't know about questions. I think it's really cool having like being interviewed by someone who like really enjoys the podcast. That really comes through, and that's very fun. So thank you for giving that experience. Not like we don't like answering questions from other people, but it's like cool. You know what you're talking about, and that is like really trippy and weird.
Yeah.
Because
we don't.
It's all in text. It's all in Discord that we see these conversations. So talking to someone about the podcast is like a little crazy.
Yeah, having the conversations outside of just us and like our really close friends that do listen to it, like it is very jarring and weird to see. Because again, me personally, I know I've taken myself largely out of the idea that it's just a game that we're experiencing, and like not that people actually listen to it outside of that, and to hear like, oh yeah, I remember this lore drop back at this time, and I'm like, sometimes I don't remember that at all.
It is a lot of material to work with, to be fair.
Yeah.
We're talking like 200 hours plus.
I mean, I just take bad notes. You're just giving me too much credit. Like Grace takes all the notes. I just hang out.
Yeah.
That's something I admire. I could never take notes. I'm
awful at taking notes.
I'm horrendous at taking notes. Cool. Excellent. I would like to plug all of you individually and as a collective. So I will obviously post all of your links below for the listeners at home. But just so that we can hear that in audio as well for those who aren't necessarily in a browser right now. Rich, where can the folks at home find you?
Yeah, my only social media right now is Blue Sky. I think my handle is just at richiban, RICHIBAN. And also the Discord server. I'm very frequent in that server that we are all contributors to. The Calyrex Game Corner, you can join at discord.gg/Calyrex. Calyrex is spelled CALYREX.
Cool. CJ, where can the good folks at home find you?
Literally just on the Discord. That's all I talk on these days. I've just detracted myself from social media for my own health. So
good for you.
The Discord is the best place to find me.
Yeah. All right. Melissa, where can the folks at home find you?
I actually just started like a booktube bookie thing. So
Ooh,
Warning,
Honeybee,
it's spicy books.
It's spicy books, yes.
That's fine.
Honeybee can read on Instagram, YouTube. But yeah.
Cool. Outstanding. And Grace, where can the folks at home find you?
Yeah, I'm most active on TikTok, sometimes on Twitch. Serenegrachay. Grachay is Grachay. And I think my blue sky is just Grachay. Instagram and YouTube as well.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming on to the main show. We're gonna move to the bonus here in a moment, where I've got some what if scenarios to talk about with you guys, if possible. Where we can kind of go through some old story beats and see what maybe could have been or shouldn't have been, or we're glad it wasn't. And that you folks can find at my Patreon for the show, which is patreon.com/terminal creative. But I would also implore you that before you go watch my bonus episode, please go subscribe to the Dunsparce Drampa Patreon. It's so much more important that you do that, because it is just a vast expanse of content that you guys all owe it to yourselves to listen to. So I will be plugging all of their links will be in the description, as well as like the Patreon and the link tree for the show as well. But again, I implore you, go see their stuff first. They're all incredible, and we'll leave Jacob's links there as well. But that is all I've got for you folks for now, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.